Rafi's journey sort of looking going forward, and he's still got more allergies? Do you think they will get better for him, or how's it looking?
We don't know is the simple answer. We're having regular appointments with their allergy specialists at the hospital to monitor kind of the size of their allergies and allergic responses.
Yeah.
We'd like to think that his are less severe because he's had less severe reactions. We've luckily only had to give him an EpiPen once in his life, obviously outside of the traumatic hospital experience when he was a baby. But other than them two occasions, his journey has been smoother, but we don't know whether that's because his allergies are less severe or just because we've learnt to manage them better.
Yeah.
That time period where Aria had the 3 reactions, we were still quite unaware of the extent of her allergies, and one of them was down to it being airborne, and we didn't know that we shouldn't have taken her to a cafe. So we're not sure whether his are just less severe or whether we are just more aware and capable of managing them now. So we have no idea. What I can say is that we found a nursery that are great, and we know what we're looking for now in terms of a nursery, and we're lucky that the person who runs the nursery that we've applied to is a parent at Aria school, so she kind of understands our situation, and again is just willing to communicate. And like the conversations we've had with that nursery have been, well, perhaps he'll just come in the mornings to avoid lunchtime initially, and we'll phase that in. And they do a snack in the morning, but we're going to come up with a list together of the snacks that would be safe for him to be around. And they clean down everything after lunch anyway, but they're going to be really thorough with that to make sure he's safe. And same with school, like we keep EpiPens in school and they have them on them in a bag at all times. So Rafi will do that as well. And there's all these things that we can put in place to make it work. So hopefully he can safely go to nursery and then in 2 years go to school, and hopefully to the same school that Aria goes to, that we know are really, really willing to help and take care of our children.
Yeah, that's really lovely. Now, I guess it sounds like you've got it under control better, your understanding's lot. How do you balance, I guess, this daily life with it? Because it sounds like it can be restrictive, so how's that work?
It's very restrictive, and I think I sometimes forget quite how restrictive, because it's our day-to-day life and you just get used to it and you find ways around it. I think the key challenges are through school, kind of like school events, and we're having to risk assess absolutely everything. If we go to the park after school and there's an ice cream van there, we have to navigate that to make sure it's safe. Or like the school ice lolly sale, we're having to buy stuff that's safe for her and for him when we take him for pickup. We go on family days out and you're constantly looking around for potential dangers, or birthday parties is a new one as a new school mum, navigating how to manage birthday parties and her friends, because unfortunately every party we've been to, she's ended up having some kind of reaction. Luckily only ever like mild to moderate, and luckily not needing an EpiPen, but that's a whole new world for us. Soft play is difficult, and you do get used to it, but you find that it's quite exhausting to go around and risk assess every situation. And it's stuff that I think a lot of parents probably take for granted, because you're not having to worry about all this stuff. She recently went on a school trip and we had to put a whole load of new measures in place for that, which most children just go on a school trip and have a lovely time, but we're having to, you're checking everything all the time. We can't go out for dinner like a lot of families just would. We can't get a takeaway. We can't do a food shop without checking every single label. It really does take its toll. But like I say, we're used to it now, and we just have to be on high alert all the time.
Yeah, I guess you might have like your more go-to for when you're doing your food shopping stuff and your cooking tea and stuff. It is just your more go-to daily routine stuff now, I guess. Yeah,
and we don't really have any of the allergens in our diet on the whole. It's just easier to eat as a family if we don't bring that stuff into the house. I mean, my husband, I don't have dairy at all. My husband does have dairy if he's out and about, and he does have a box on top of the fridge that has got dairy chocolate in, because he can't not have that. That's one thing for him that he wants to still have, but we have to have that in like an airtight box on the top of the fridge, and he'll only bring that down if the kids are in bed, and he'll have it like over the counter and have to wipe down. So it's stuff like that we've put into place to kind of manage it. There's nothing in our cupboards really that can harm the children. And you have your go-tos, like you say. And I think the only thing is you've always got to check the allergen labels, because you just never know when that advice has changed. It's things like we've previously bought ice lollies that have been totally safe, and then we checked the other day and they now say may contain milk, because they've changed the provider and say there might be milk in the factory. And you would, if I said to you, here's a sandwich but it might contain glass, you wouldn't eat that. So it's the same in that case for us. We just suddenly have to stop and change.
Yeah. How does it work when you do go to like cafes and stuff? Because obviously, the men have the allergy folders and stuff. Do you find that they do? And if they do, are they helpful, or are they? I don't know. Because I can imagine some are
It varies.
Great.
Some places are more helpful than others. So we again have a list of kind of
Yeah.
go-to restaurants or cafes that we know can accommodate.
Mm.
Cafes are a difficult one, particularly because of Ari's airborne milk allergy.
Yeah.
So she can't be sat inside at a cafe ever because there's milk in the air because they're steaming milk while they're
Yeah.
making coffees all the time. So that's a no-go unless we know there's somewhere that we can sit outside and keep her away from that. We still couldn't order her anything from the counter because a lot of things are kind of open, aren't they? And all the cakes are together. So even if there's a vegan cake that doesn't directly contain milk, there could be that cross-contamination. And unfortunately, we do know that she reacts to even a trace amount, so we can't risk that.
Yeah, so it's not even like, that must be so challenging.
It is, because you think there's a lot of naturally accidentally vegan or accidentally dairy-free products, but then they still got that may contain warning. And we have had issues before, particularly with things like bread rolls and loaves of bread, bakery items, because they're made in a factory in a setting where they're making cakes and stuff. And we have experienced her having a reaction from something that said may contain. Stuff like chocolate is a really big one, because we've given her vegan chocolate and she had to have an EpiPen because of the way they clean the factory and the pipes and stuff. There was still enough milk within that, even though it's not labelled in the product. A trace amount can be enough. So we really have to be quite strict on the foods that they're allowed.
So even being careful still can have its risks for you.
Yeah.
But how has it impacted your mental health, I guess, and how's it impacted you as a family? Has it made you stronger, or how's it?
I would say it's made us really strong. We're a really close family. We're a family of 4, so we're very tight.
Yeah.
There's, we've got a good dynamic going on, and I think often we do a lot on our own just because of the situations we find ourselves in. We spend a lot of time at home together because of the situation we found ourselves in. So we're a really tight family, and me and my husband are very protective over the children naturally, but they're also really protective over each other. My daughter particularly is of an age now where she mothers her brother quite a lot, and she will have certain things. So my son's fish allergy is, we think, mostly to whitefish, so we will have salmon. We don't give that to him, but now she will have it, and she'll say, well, I can't sit near Rafi because I don't want him to be near the salmon. We wouldn't have it if it was that high risk, but she's very aware of that, and wherever we are, she'll say, Mummy, you've got to check it doesn't contain peas, or she's very on it. So I'd say they've got a lovely dynamic, and it's definitely brought us all closer together, and we're very close for that reason. In answer to the other part of your question, I think it's drastically affected my mental health. I think I have struggled mentally a lot throughout my life, and I think something like this can only then, unfortunately, weigh more on it and exacerbate some symptoms, I would say.
Yeah, I guess, looking back on it, how do you think it has affected you from, I guess, pre-children to now? What's that journey look like?
So pre-children, I was definitely anxious anyway. I was a very anxious person anyway, and struggled a lot with health anxiety throughout my life. It's funny what you look back on in hindsight. When you explore your mental health more, you realise as a child you're probably displaying some of these traits. But I think as I've gone through this journey with my children's health and having to be on high alert all the time, I've realised just how heightened my anxiety has become. And it's a really tricky one. I've had a lot of therapy around this, and the thing that we always come back to in the sessions are that it's hard because my anxieties are very real, and it's not just catastrophic thinking, it's stuff that could happen. And although my brain's running away with it, they're very real fears. And it's hard to manage that because you can't say, well, that would never happen, and you're worrying about nothing because what I'm worrying about could very well happen, and I'm on high alert all the time.
Have happened as well.
Yeah.
You don't want them to happen again.
And it's a fine line to walk because there are a lot of things we can do where the risk is really minimised. And I can't live my life in fear all the time, and I can't restrict the life that my children live. They deserve to live a really, really full, normal life. And, we want them to do things like travel, but then I found that when we have travelled, my anxiety has been heightened and I've had a lot of panic attacks. And it's hard because that is for a very valid reason. We're in a situation that could be potentially quite dangerous, but equally the alternative is to not do that. And we've minimised the risk so much that it would almost be unfair to restrict them from that. But it's still really scary. So it's a constant battle, and, it's something that's a constant work in progress.
Yeah. What's helped you, I guess, try and balance the anxieties with real life?
I've had a lot of therapy. I had a lot of sessions weekly for a long, long time. I no longer do that because I'm in a much better place, and also life is just so busy, it's hard to fit it in. But I kind of, thanks to my therapist, have managed to work through my own brain and all of these anxieties, and work out what's going on and then how to manage that when we're in day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And I kind of know what signs to look for now, and I know when I'm starting to spiral, and I think I understand it all a lot more now. I had a diagnosis of OCD, and again, I would never have put myself in that category given the outside kind of perspective on what OCD is. I don't fit the stereotype of being anxiously clean all the time. I mean, if you could see my house, you would not think I fit that mold at all, but it's more of a control thing with me. And I think obviously a lot with the children's allergies, we're having to control a lot of their life and a lot of things. And I think now I understand why my brain works like that, and how to work through it and how to rationalise the thoughts that are going on in my brain a lot of the time.
Yeah, how have you managed to rationalise them a bit? It must have taken a long time to be able to work through it.
Definitely, and it is a constant work in progress, and weighing up the situation and kind of knowing that I've controlled everything that I can control, and that unfortunately there's only so much you can do, and it's weighing up. So like with the travel thing, do we just not travel then? Do we just stop them going to soft play? Do we stay at home all the time? Is that the best alternative?
Yeah.
And that wouldn't be fair on the children. So I've learned different ways to cope with that, and how to navigate that in my mind and break it down. And journaling really helps, and rationalising them thoughts. And also my therapist is only a call away should I need that.
No, that's fun. How does it affect, I guess, work life and stuff? You have to give up your job, and now you're your own person, I guess, aren't you? Freelancing. Like, how does that work for you? And
so I'm freelance now, which I was freelance before, but it was a lot more stable because I could take on long-term contracts and I could work full time. Now with the children and them not being in childcare 100% of the time, it's more of a challenge. I think when I had 2 children at home, I was trying to freelance, but I couldn't really do that to the full capability, and I felt like I was juggling a lot of plates and letting people down, but also my main priority was to be a mum. So that was a constant juggle, and I think the mental toll that takes as well, of feeling like you're letting people down. You can't do anything to 100% of your ability, because I want to be the best mum I can, but I know I've got a deadline, but then I can't reach the deadline because I'm being a mum. That was a lot, and I think it's a big sacrifice you have to make, but obviously I wouldn't have it any other way. That was the best way to keep them safe, and that was therefore the right decision. I'm excited for the future in the hopes that I can start to build up my own life again a little bit around them, but it's definitely hard. I think it's hard anyway when you become a parent. There's a lot of different issues that all sorts of parents face just in terms of childcare and stuff, but to add the allergy stuff on top, it's a whole new ball game. It's a whole lot to manage, and you don't realise until you're in that situation just how hard it is. And being at home with the children all the time, we're very lucky to have had that time with them and that we've been able to muddle through, but it's definitely not been easy financially, emotionally, mentally, and hopefully we're coming to the other side of that now.
Have you managed to meet, I guess, other people while you've been going through this journey that have been and are going through it as well, or is it been quite an isolated, lonely experience?
It's really isolating. I don't know anybody in reality that is going through the same things we are. It's been a very lonely place. I think I wish that there was more awareness around it, so that we could have gone to things like baby groups and soft plays and met more people, but it was just too high risk to do that. We used to go to outdoor play groups because the risk there was minimal because we're in the fresh air, but I wasn't able to do all the normal things that mums do. Aria never had any friends until she started school because she could never go to play groups. So it's felt very lonely, and like we've definitely not had a normal start to parenting, but also the kids haven't had a normal start to their life. And you don't know how to navigate that anyway as a first time mum, but let alone with the fear that comes along with the allergy stuff. I have, however, started to share a lot more online and meet other mums online that are going through the same thing, so that's really nice. But it's still, you can't be on your phone all the time talking to people. It's really nice to connect with people and understand that you're not the only one going through this, but day to day and in real life, there's still not enough awareness or community around that.
Yeah, no, definitely. One thing I'm fascinated, you've probably already answered it though, is how you managed to navigate like the summer holidays and going abroad, and like that must take it to a whole nother level. Like how the heck did you manage to work through that?
Well, I mean, so we're coming into our first ever kind of school summer holiday now, and in terms of looking ahead to the next 6 weeks, it's really difficult. Coming back to like the work thing again, I'm trying to juggle a bit of everything, and we're going to have both children at home. We don't have the luxury of being able to send them to holiday clubs because there's food everywhere. So we've got that to navigate. We have just come back from a family holiday, which is a whole other thing with the travel. Trying to fly and explain to airlines that someone has an airborne milk allergy is a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I always say there's a lot of PR around nuts because everybody seems to know that you can have an airborne nut allergy. Then it comes to milk, and as I said myself at the start of the interview, I always believed that a milk allergy was more kind of tummy related and not life threatening, when in fact it is a killer. And to explain that to people who don't have the awareness, because it's just not out there, that perhaps on a flight they need to not serve dairy. It's just it's a minefield and a challenge, and you know, our experience wasn't positive, but we did manage to eventually go on holiday, and the hotel we stayed at were brilliant, and we've been able to have a lovely family holiday.
Wow, that's it must be really challenging to feel like it's hard enough when, you know, they announced, you know, we're not serving nuts on the flight, but and then to like completely wipe out milk and sort of dairy, it must be really challenging to... It's
really hard, and I think again all we're looking for is communication and compromise. It always comes back to communication, and I think there are just small changes that you can put in place to keep everybody safe. If you can do that, then why wouldn't you? It doesn't have to be a big deal, but it always becomes that. And you know, I think a lot of that comes down to the lack of awareness around allergies in general, and hopefully that's about to change. I think there's a lot going on in the news and with the work that allergy charities are doing. I think it can only be positive, and hopefully that change will come, but it's definitely not easy to navigate. It can be embarrassing, it can be traumatizing, but why doesn't everybody deserve to live a safe life? Why do my children not deserve to go on a safe holiday like anybody else's children would? They deserve to live a full and happy life. Anybody does. It shouldn't matter about conditions or disabilities or anything. It shouldn't matter. Everybody deserves to be equal and have equal opportunity, and that's all we ever want.
Yeah, no, definitely. I guess I don't know, like top tips or advice that you'd give to parents or people maybe going through themselves, is, you know, later in life. What's I guess your advice from it all? I
think in any external situation, whether you're thinking about schools or a new job or travelling, it always comes back to research and communication. I think having open dialogue with people where they can support you is so key. And again, coming back to the fact that you're an equal and that your children are equal, or if you yourself have allergies, you're equal, and all you want is that equality and equal opportunity. And there are small things that can be changed that can make a huge difference. And I think doing your research into kind of what is out there and what accommodations can be made for you, that's really key. And that can apply in every situation, from whether you're starting a new job and need to wipe down your surfaces every day, or you know, whatever it might be, have a no food in the office policy or something, or whether it comes to school and they stop doing the milk, or they get the children to wash their hands, or you know, travelling and being able to speak to the airline in advance and making slight changes to the menu. Whatever it is, communication and research will be your best friend.
That's really interesting, thank you. I guess is there anything else you'd like to throw in there before we wrap it up? Or?
I don't think so. I think if you're listening to this or watching this and you don't have allergies, I'd ask you to be more mindful of allergies and more compassionate and understanding to those, perhaps not just with allergies, but with any condition. That, as I've said, everybody just wants to live a really equal and normal life. I think kindness is key. And I think we could all show each other some more respect. And I think everybody deserves to live an equal life, as I said a lot of times. I think if you are a parent in this situation if you have a newborn and their skin is not quite right, or you think they could have some kind of allergy, please keep pushing. I think we know that our NHS is under a lot of strain. That's not a secret to anybody. And it's really hard to get appointments, and it's really hard when you're on a waiting list. But keep going, because your gut instinct is usually right, and your baby deserves to get an answer, and you deserve to live a really healthy life. So keep going, but also look for support while you're on that journey, because it's not easy. And like I say, when I was in it, I didn't quite realise how much it was affecting me, and then to come out the other side and be completely depleted, to be traumatised, to be more anxious than ever, it was really difficult. So I think having some support along the way would have been wise, but I didn't know at the time.
Oh, that's lovely. And then finally, if you wouldn't mind just, I guess, letting everyone know your socials.
Yeah.
You do post them there a lot.
Yeah.
And then just, a bit about your freelance stuff, if you like. Then if anyone needs any help, they can get in touch, I guess. Yeah,
so in terms of the allergy stuff, if you're looking for some support or some community and guidance, I share a lot over on Instagram. My Instagram name is @live.noble, which is presumably you can put
I can bang
in the show
link.
notes.
Yeah, no problem.
And I share a lot about allergies and insights into parenting and managing that every day. And I'm currently working on a few different things to help hopefully have some more community and support around that. So just keep an eye over there, and that will be that. I'll share that across there. In terms of work, I do social media and marketing, and I'm freelancing. I'll leave my website link below if that's okay. And if anyone needs support in their business and how to thrive online, then I'm the girl for that as well.
Definitely, straight up. Yeah, so we'll pop all the links into anyway.
Perfect.
And if you want any more information, then you can message Olivia and she'll be able to help.
Brilliant. Thank you.
No, we loved having you. And for everyone listening, you've been listening to the Let's Chat Derbyshire podcast. Don't forget to follow us on socials at DCCMHSP. And it's been a real insight, I think, learning more about allergies and stuff. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.